Right now, your mind is doing something pretty incredible. It's not just passively seeing the world, it's actively predicting it. So let's dive into how this powerful force of expectation literally shapes the reality you experience every single day. It really all boils down to this one big question. Are we just, watching life happen like it's a movie? Or are we actually co-creating the whole thing moment by moment? Turns out, our minds are way more involved than we think. Okay, let's start with a feeling I am sure we all know. That feeling of anticipation. You're just kind of hanging in the moment, waiting for what's supposed to come next. And let's get specific. You're waiting for a message. You know the one? You can almost feel that little buzz in your pocket before it even happens. So what do? You do that little dance, right? You pull out your phone, you glance at it. Maybe you refresh the screen. You're listening for that familiar little ping you were expecting. But then, silence. The message you were so sure was coming, it just doesn't. And in that quiet moment, in that non-event, something really important is happening inside your head. It's like this quiet little flicker inside. Your brain, for just a fraction of a second, flags an error. It goes, wait a minute, this isn't right. And that tiny little pause, that's where our whole story begins. See, the reason that happens is that your brain isn't just a passive sponge soaking up information. Nope, it's more like a fortune teller, an active, future-guessing machine that's constantly trying to figure out what's next. So here's the key idea. Your mind is always running a simulation, a little movie of what it thinks is supposed to happen. When reality follows the script, everything feels smooth. You don't even notice. But the second reality goes off script, bam, your brain wakes up and pays attention. And what's so fascinating is this gap between what we expect and what we actually get. That's where the magic is. It could be getting a different notification, a sudden change in plans, or that powerful, deafening silence instead of a message. That's the moment your mind is forced to go, okay, time to update the software. This all leads to a pretty profound idea. Our minds can react just as strongly, sometimes even more strongly, to things that don't happen as they do to things that actually do. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. It's so true, right? We're living in two worlds at once. There's the world of what is, and then there's this whole other world of what we thought was going to be. Just think about it. A friend who doesn't call on your birthday, a boss who doesn't acknowledge all your hard work. These aren't nothing. They're powerful events. Why? Because they break the story. They defy the expectation we had in our heads. Our inner world makes them real. So if we're constantly navigating this gap between expectation and reality, what are we supposed to do? Well, we cope, we learn, we adapt. We're constantly rewriting our own story in real time. And it's really this simple three-step loop that's happening all day, every day. First, you build a model in your head of how things are supposed to be. Second, life, being life, throws in a plot twist. And third, you have to adjust your model. That right there, that's the very definition of learning. And here's the really cool, kind of optimistic way to look at all this. Every surprise, every delay, every moment of confusion, it's not just a problem. It's a little nudge from reality, a gentle reminder to stay flexible, to keep learning, and to stay awake to the world. Okay, so this is all fascinating theory, but how can we actually use this? How do we go from being bounced around by our expectations to actively shaping our experience? Well, there is one simple but incredibly powerful action you can start taking today. This is it. This is the golden question. The next time you feel that internal jolt of surprise, a plan changes, someone says something you didn't see coming, just pause for a second and ask yourself this. It's not about judging yourself. It's just about being curious. By asking this question, you're training yourself to pay attention to that split-second pause we talked about. It turns you from someone who just reacts on autopilot into an active observer of your own mind. And that awareness, it is absolutely transformative. When you can see your own expectations clearly, you stop getting yanked around by your emotions. You stop just reacting and you start responding with intention. You get to be the one holding the pen, consciously rewriting your story. It really all comes down to this simple, beautiful sequence. Asking that question gives you awareness. That awareness creates a little bit of mental space. And in that space, you find something incredibly valuable, choice. The choice of how to respond, what to believe, and how to move forward. And that's the ultimate takeaway here. True strength isn't about trying to control the world so it always meets your expectations. It's about having the awareness to choose how you respond when it doesn't. That choice, that's where your real power is.